Hi, Melanie Minschinger, illustrator for Gina K Designs. Today I'm going to be sharing a project for you that I made with Stately Flowers 5. This mistletoe image from my Stately Flowers 5 set from Gina K Designs was actually featured on a card that I made for the Card Maker Presents Happy Holidays special issue. This is a great issue filled with over 65 cards, gifts, and actual recipes to make this holiday season, and it's only on the newsstands until December 1st. I highly recommend that you pick yourself up a copy. In addition to all of these great projects with step-out pictures and step-by-step instructions, it's got really great recipes for things that I haven't heard of before and really want to make, like microwave peanut brittle. That's a great, easy recipe. The project that I'm going to be making today is actually this suspended ornament card. This is clean and simple. It's just a one-layer card, but when you cut it out with a die, you have a little ornament that somebody can actually untie and put on the tree, or since it's mistletoe, hang up in a door frame. Very easy to do. The products that you're going to need for making this card are the Stately Flowers 5 stamp set. So here's a picture of all the images, and I also have done a video on how easy it is to color in this sunflower, and that's a great year-round image. Going to be using some of the black onyx for stamping the mistletoe, the cherry red for stamping the greeting, and finally some of the craft ink, and that's really going to make your image pop. Now on the front of this magazine, I actually did the berries red just to make it a little bit more red-green festive, but mistletoe actually has white waxy berries, so the reverse masking we're going to be doing today is really going to make those stand out on the white background. The Spectrum Noir markers that I'm going to be using to color it in are the DG3, the CG4, the CG1, and then the IG4 for a little bit of shadow. Just some plain paper. This looks tan, but it's from sponging the craft over it. So just some printer paper for creating your mask. And then possibly a little bit of repositionable adhesive that you can just rub off to help keep that in place. But I usually just use my fingers. You're also going to be using a circle die to cut that out. And again, if you don't have any dies, you can just keep this clean and simple and just have it be a plain white card front without cutting it out. Have just a little length of Gina K red gingham ribbon. Have a sponge dauber for sponging on the craft ink. And we're going to be using just a 3/16 eyelet. You can find these at any craft store, and I'm going to be using the Crop-A-Dile to make the hole and set the eyelet. Again, you do not have to have eyelets for this project. You can just simply punch a hole with probably a hole punch that you already have in your junk drawer. Okay, so to begin, you will need an A2 size card. This is the Gina K White Pure Luxury, and I am using the heavy base weight so that my ornament is sturdy. Now I have already cut out the circle, and what I did here is I used my plain white card front. Before I folded it, I laid the circle down on top of the card to see where I would want to cut the image and then put my greeting. So I stamped that right on there, and then I did my cutout. And ahead of time, I just found a die that would fit this. So this is about a 3-inch circle. So that's just going to fit nicely right in there. Okay, so I went ahead and cut that out and embossed it just to save time. It's a little bit difficult for me to try to videotape cutting out with my die cutting machine. I'm going to go ahead and stamp the mistletoe and the black onyx. And lift that up. Okay. Now, I have a lot of contour lines in this that show you all those different little folds and curves on the leaves. So we'll start with our darkest color, this DG3. And I'm just going to put that over the blackest parts of the image. So just the underside of those leaves, and basically just quickly going over the darkest parts of the image. And you always want to feather it out rather than making a line across and filling it in, and that way it's just going to blend that much more easily with your lighter color that you add. And because these leaves are so curved, I'm going to leave space in between there for my highlight. It's really easy to color though. Just a little bit more. Okay, now let's put in another shade of green. I'm going to use this CG4, and again, just feathering it over. So this one's a little bit brighter, not quite as olive, a little more of a Kelly green. And just having those two shades in there is just going to really make this look a lot more realistic. I have a Merry Christmas stamp in the Stately Flowers 5 set, but I couldn't find it. It must have fallen out of my box, or maybe I might have put it with another stamp set. So I just used a greeting from the new Winter Cheer Stamp TV kit. Okay, and then finally, I'm going to take some of this CG1, and I'm just going to go right over those edges onto the white areas. And then I can do a little bit of tip-to-tip coloring with that DG3 to make it more of a smooth transition. Okay, and that's all. Then we'll add just a touch of this IG4 gray at the bottom of the berries. Now you might want to have a little more dimension, and you can fill these in with adhesive pearls. I have done that. Or you could even drop on some liquid pearls, and that looks beautiful too, and it's really shimmery and shiny. But you have to make sure that you give it time to dry, and you definitely have to wait. Do that last after you've done your masking. Okay, so that's all the color I'm going to do on this. Now I'm going to put the image that I stamped on paper previously and cover that right up. Now I can put a little bit of repositionable adhesive on there, if there's any left. I think I'm out actually. All right, I won't be then. I'll just hold it on there. Okay, so get my sponge dauber and craft ink, and so you're just going to carefully hold it on there. And just go very lightly at first. You can always add more. If it looks a little bit heavy in an area, don't panic. Just go over it some more lightly. And just keep moving it. And it does blend. It keeps moving the ink slightly as you go over it more. So don't be worried if you get the edge of that dauber shape. Okay. And then you can get that little area inside by just lightly putting that over it. Okay. Now, if you want it to just have like a soft little glow like that, then stop sponging. But if you want for that rim to be really defined, then go ahead and just put it back in and then go along the edge. All right, now I am going to make a little hole, and I wanted to also show you how, so that you don't burn through one color of cardstock, since it takes a lot probably at Christmas time. You could actually cut this same die out of another card base and then mix and match. And see there, you still have a single layer card, but you've got the two colors. And we could hang that one in there. So just something different that you can do. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make my hole. I'll go ahead and do it in this craft one. Now on the craft, I colored it with these same markers, I forgot to say, except I went ahead and used this Pitt White Artist pen, which I love, and just dot it on those berries. Okay, and then you can sponge this on the same way, but it's going to be even more subtle. And I chose to color onto the white and onto the craft just because the colors are still going to be very true on these neutrals, but you could also do this possibly on the Ocean Mist, maybe on an ivory, and that would look really pretty too. So that'll just give you some ideas for some other color combinations. Okay, so doing the craft on craft is going to be more subtle, but you can tell a difference. It gives it more depth than if it was just the craft. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and set this eyelet. And again, I did a 3/16 punch. So you're going to put it in where you want it. Then you're going to turn it over. You're going to set it into this little peg and then squeeze. And that's it. And then on the back side of this, you could write your message or the date or even put like a little picture of your family. Then you're going to go in and cut the same size hole at the top of your card. And then you're going to thread through some of the gingham. And this would look really pretty with maybe a metallic ribbon or a plaid. But I just love red gingham with white and craft just for a nice country Christmas card. So you'll just center it in that hole and then tie your ribbon. And I'm kind of running low on my gingham, so I didn't make a bow. Also, doing just a loose knot makes it a little bit easier to tie and untie when your recipient takes it off. Then you're just going to trim the ends. I always like to do them at a little angle. And you're done. Isn't that fun? It just looks so elegant hanging there if someone chooses to display it standing up or if they want to take it off. I hope you enjoyed this project and see how easy it is to color this mistletoe. Please visit my blog, Hands, Head, and Heart, for more inspiration with this set and others, and my videos on YouTube and Stamp TV. Thank you for watching.